Meanwhile, the other issue, and probably the much, and the Democrats are talking about dropping Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I'll get to that in a minute, too. That's going to be interesting. But yesterday, over at DU, there was this piece, drinking milk at school while black. Virginia authorities handcuffed a middle school student and charged him with larceny for, quote, stealing a milk carton from school cafeteria earlier this year. Child has also been suspended from school. His name is Ryan Turk, and he is enrolled in the school's free lunch program. And he was having lunch. He's entitled to free milk. And he got up and walked over to wherever the milk is and grabbed a milk carton. And a police officer, a Prince William County police officer, approached him and accused him of stealing the milk. The kid apparently talked back, and bang, he's in jail. I mean, police officers then handcuffed Ryan because the student broke the rules and became disorderly. And when Ryan was asked by a local television reporter, did you become disorderly, he said, I pulled away, I yanked away from him being the police officer, and told him to get off of me because he's not my dad. But this is, what's a cop doing in a school? This is a 6-year-old, another student, Milledgeville, Georgia. A 6-year-old elementary student was handcuffed and arrested Friday after she allegedly threw a tantrum. The girl was crying in the principal's office at Creekside Elementary before police arrived. When the officer arrived and tried to calm the child resisted and was handcuffed. We're calling police on 6-year-olds because they're crying. An 11-year-old autistic boy. This is in Bayou, George, Florida, at the Merritt Brown Middle School. 11-year-old Terrence Jones. He's autistic. He's an autistic kid. And he was having shall we say, an episode, which is, not all that unusual for autistic kids. And, so what they do, they call the police. He was charged with 2 felony accounts of assault. In Jefferson Parish District, this is, New Orleans, in Louisiana, an 8th grader, this by James King. An 8th grader in Louisiana was riding the bus home from school when he and several other students started throwing Skittles at each other. Bus driver asked the kids to knock it off, continued making stops, didn't say another word about the Skittles. The following day, as the boy was taking a social studies test, a police officer assigned to the school, again, why do we have cops assigned to our schools? Handcuffed him, dragged him out of class, and arrested him and charged him with interference with an educational facility and battery. As the officer led the handcuffed teenager out of the school, both students and faculty heard him threaten to beat the F out of him, or to have his son, who is about the same age, do it for him. The student, who is African American, spent 6 days in a juvenile detention facility before even seeing a judge. The judge was pretty astonished. He said, to get this right, are we really here about Skittles? But in the 2011-2012 school year alone, there were 1,629 arrests and referrals to police just in Jefferson Parish, which is about 40% black, but 80% of the arrests were of black kids. The next parish over, which is a comparable size, instead of having 1,600, but it is mostly white, instead of having 1,600 arrests, had 150 arrests. The Southern Poverty Law Center says this is nothing less than a racially biased system of criminalizing African-American children. Remember the kid Ahmed in North Texas who was arrested for bringing a homemade clock to school? He was so proud of himself. And then they led Ahmed into a room where 4 other police officers waited. He said an officer he'd never seen before leaned back in his chair and remarked, "Yep, that's who I thought I was." Ahmed felt suddenly conscious of his brown skin and his name, one of the most common in the Muslim religion. Principal threatened to expel him if he didn't make a written statement. They were like, "So you tried to make a bomb?" Ahmed said, and I told him, "No, I was trying to make a clock." He was not allowed to call his parents during the interrogation, was alone with the police during the questioning. At an elementary school in Baltimore, 3 9-year-old girls and an 8-year-old boy were arrested for fighting and marched out of their elementary school in handcuffs. In New Haven, Connecticut, 10-year-old boy was actually arrested by police for giving another student a wedgie on a school bus. Last year, a 5-year-old boy at a public school in Stockton, California, was arrested by police and handcuffed with zip ties because he was committing battery on a police officer. A 5-year-old? A 5-year-old? A 6-year-old girl in Florida was throwing objects, hitting administration personnel, and screaming uncontrollably, so police handcuffed the 40-pound little girl, 6 years old. In San Mateo, California, a few months after a 7-year-old special education student was blasted in the face with pepper spray because he would not quit climbing on the furniture. Down in Florida, an 11-year-old student arrested by police, thrown in jail, charged with third-degree battery for bringing a plastic butter knife to school, not even using it or threatening to. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You know, we've talked about, you know, what's going on in our culture. I guess the question is, what's going on in our culture?
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And to what extent does the whole Donald Trump bully boy bluster reflect what's going on in our culture and maybe even lead it?
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.